Hello and welcome. In the previous video, I explained different methods to perform cleanup of enterprise vault to reduce license cost. In this video, let's double click on each one of them, starting with retention period. So retention period determines how long you want to retain the data. If you go with the default setting that is forever, then it is going to be an expensive affair because you will be retaining the data forever. It will cost you in terms of storage, and it will also cost you in terms of enterprise vault licensing, because enterprise vault charges for both active users and legacy users. Legacy users are the ones who have left the organization, but the data still resides within enterprise vault. So with forever option, your legacy users data will be in enterprise vault and you will be paying for that. So let me show you how to set appropriate retention period. So this is enterprise vault admin console. On the left-hand side, under retention and classification, there is a node called categories. This is where you define the retention categories. Default retention category is the one which is there by default when you install Configure Enterprise Vault, and the retention period is forever. Retain items forever. With this option, your items will never be expired. They will be there forever unless you delete them. So I would recommend not to set this option because this is going to be very expensive in the long run. Instead of having retain items forever, I would suggest having a defined period, a period that you can define based on the user or based on the content or merit of data. For example, executives. Now, your executives are very important people. You should retain that data for longer duration because executives may be exchanging emails or creating files that may have business strategy, business proposals, and so on. So the retention period could be 5 years, 7 years, or 10 years, but you should have a definite period that you should set in the retention policy. Similarly, financial records should be retained for a longer duration, but again, you can have a definite period. You could also set retention period based on your departments. Maybe you can set a retention period that is appropriate for your HR department, for your marketing department, for your sales department. Ultimately, everything boils down on your company policy, how long you want to retain the data. And there could be also customers who may have certain regulatory requirement, like banks and financial institutions, where regulator may have certain standards or certain norms, and company will have to follow that. So the retention period could be based on what is the norm set by the regulator. Now there could be also a retention category with a very short duration, and this can be set to items which do not have any business value. These are your out of office emails, newsletters, subscription emails, something that doesn't have any business value. Those items or that data need not be retained for a longer duration. Using classification defined retention, you could set appropriate retention based on the merit of the data. Classification identifies if it's a junk data or if it's important data, business related data, and accordingly, you can set the retention. So using appropriate retention will help you to reduce the storage costs and also enterprise vault licensing costs, because if you don't retain data for a longer duration, your legacy users data, the users who have left the organization, that data will be eventually deleted and you won't be paying for your legacy users. In the next video, I'll show how to expire the data, which will also help to reduce the licensing cost. Thank you.